Hey, I'm Jeremy. I'm a music producer at Lab Six here in Perth, Western Australia. Thank you for joining me and my completely OTT microphone here for my first ever installment of a series called Made in the Lab, a series dedicated to celebrating the incredible music I'm so lucky and fortunate to work on with some very talented artists. And yeah, we're going to be breaking down the production process, giving you an insight into everything from the very first demo recording all the way up to the final product, from the microphone decisions and choices we made, and the mixing and the songwriting and composition and arrangement, all of that. Today we're going to be breaking down a track called Lovers Fall by Ellard. I'm very proud of this one. It's an acoustic song. I'm not really seasoned in acoustic music, but I'm pretty stoked with how it turned out. So here's a little preview of what we're going to be breaking down today.
I knew I was falling like the rain. It needed water too, and I heard it calling me so free. Came without warning like the night. It needs a morning too, and I couldn't stall it. Till I was searching all of the spectrum, undecided, and I couldn't fight it, no. You lent me your hand, and together we ran until the sky, it came falling into our hearts. And the rain, it came and left its mark. And the sky keep falling into our hearts, the way two lovers fall into each other's arms. Two lovers fall.
So first of all, maybe a little bit of a backstory about the artist and the song. His name's Josh Garner. He's a professional bodyboarder that does crazy stuff like this. And hopefully I've just put in a picture of Josh doing something really crazy in his bodyboard. I've got the original demo that we recorded on day one, which I believe was literally just like a scratch vocal and acoustic guitar played all at the same time with like a single microphone that I had at the time, which would have been a Neumann TLM 103. So yeah, I'll play the original demo for you now.
Was falling like the rain. It needed water too, and I heard it calling me so free. Came without warning like the night. It needs a morning too, and I couldn't stall it. Till I was searching all of the spectrum, undecided, and I couldn't fight it, no. You lent me your hand, together we ran till the sky came falling into our hearts. And the rain came and left its mark. And the sky came falling into our hearts, and the way two lovers fall into each other's arms.
So now we're going to break down the arrangement, listen to all of the individual elements, and then after that we'll come back and look at the mixing kind of process. We'll start, I'm thinking, from the acoustic guitar, since it's the first thing that you hear. It's a double-tracked acoustic guitar. So we've got a left channel and a right channel, not fully panned left and right. You can see for the most part, it's 2 takes. The left channel is the 8th take, and then the right channel is the 7th take. We just basically, I knew that I wanted to do a double-tracked kind of guitar and pan them left and right. So I just got Josh to play the song through multiple times. And we really wanted it to be as natural as possible and to sound like a real acoustic song. We didn't want to just find the best parts and then loop them. I just had this feeling that I really wanted to be as simple and real as possible. There's a few edits here in different places, but nothing crazy. The way that I like to kind of record is have like a separate channel specifically for the tracking or the recording. And the idea is that you can just keep recording over that track over and over again, and then it creates a bunch of take lanes. Looks like we did 10 takes in total, and the takes really started getting good from about take 5. And then that tracking track essentially becomes almost like a platter that we can just pick the best bits from and comp it all together. This was the tracking. It's actually muted, so we don't hear that one. Most of the takes were pretty great from start to finish. There's just a couple of moments where you can see I've used the 9th guitar take for this one little bit. So maybe let's have a listen to what that would have sounded like. So if you listen to that soloed with the left take as well, you can kind of just hear that this one's got that extra little bit there. So I just found another take where he did do that extra little bit there with the guitar. And cool, and that just balances a little bit better. So it wasn't exactly a mistake, it was just he recorded it 2 different ways in those 2 different takes. I definitely remember this part here in the 8th take that we've got for the most part on the left channel. It was just those very first two hits of the chorus. It was just like that little bit too excited and hit the notes a little bit harder. So I found just a take with a slightly softer hit there on that first take, and then same with here. Yeah, so there's just a couple of spots where I've just edited in, and not even that many. Josh is a really great player, and I wanted a few takes where he was playing like a robot and a few where he was just playing a little bit looser, so I could just cherry pick the best parts and go for the takes that had the best feel to them. At the end in the acoustic guitar, we have this little moment here. If I solo this. So that was just that was actually from the very first recording day. And it was just really nice, and I wanted to keep it in the song somewhere. I wanted to keep it going longer, but I just couldn't like edit or move it around or loop it in any way that kind of made sense. So I just decided to keep it as like this really short, fleeting moment that kind of comes in and then disappears. So. So let's move on to the electric guitar. I wanted Josh to record I just had this idea for Josh to record some of like the harmonics of the guitar, where he's kind of playing the harmonics of the root notes of the chords. And then I was just going to put a massive reverb on them. So that sounds like this. So without the reverb, that sounds like this. And then same with this one. So without those effects, it sounds like this. So yeah, I just wanted to sound like we're in heaven or something. We're up in the clouds. And then towards the end, we've got another, this is to accompany that little acoustic bit at the end. Again, this is from the original day of recording. So this was in that demo that I showed you at the start. So let's hear them together. Now we've got some bass guitar. This is just Josh playing that. pretty straightforward, no real EQ or anything. I think we got it really clean on the input, and that's something that we tried to do right from the input, like getting it right at the source. I did try to maybe put just a really simple sine wave sub bass in the final chorus to make that final chorus lift it a bit more, but I felt it didn't really do much to it. So if I turn that on, mainly just to fill out where the bass guitar kind of decays, and just to fill in that space. But yeah, just decided it wasn't really necessary. So if we solo the acoustic, the electric, I could just listen to that all day. It's so nice. Josh is a really great player. I can listen to him play all day, and I'm really, really stoked with that sound that we pulled. Okay, let's move on to something else that was still recorded. It's not MIDI yet, is this piano section. This was the Yamaha C5 grand piano that they've got next door at Loop Recording Studios. Really nice piano. Sorry, Don, sometimes I sneak in there on my lunch break and practice my scales. Because as you can all hear, I definitely need the practice. You can even see, like, I didn't even play it that well, so I've edited myself, my own playing, to be more on grid. There was a lot of pedal noise as well, so I've done like fades. I believe that was with the Coles, like a stereo pair of those Coles ribbon microphones. I had a Behringer Poly D, but now I have a real life Moog. So I'm just doing some weird little leady improvisation on. Oh, I forgot about this. This is a cool little sound. Sail away, sail away, sail away. So this is actually like a whole recording here where I was just following the chords. This is the Triton that you see here. Forget what. I hope that the preset's called Sail Away. I don't think it is. The one other thing that was recorded and not MIDI, aside from the vocals, of course, and we will get to those, is the drone, or at least two of the three elements of the drones. Yeah, so Juno, Sawtooth, heavily filtered, chorus on, good to go. Those electric guitar harmonies that I got Josh to do, this would have been the G note harmony. I slapped a huge reverb on, cranked the decay of the reverb, froze the reverb, and then just printed it to audio, and then made this with that. So when you put them together, you get this. I used the Universal Audio Hammond B3 organ. So let's just hear the whole thing. This gives me a really Dire Straits vibe, and I love that. Walk of Life, that's the song that I was thinking of. This is the Arturia Mellotron V, because you've got to have a Mellotron. This is, whenever I use the Mellotron, I find usually 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to use the default kind of Strawberry Flutes preset, I think it's called. So yeah, obviously emulating the sound of that Beatles Strawberry Fields Mellotron sounds, and I love it. And probably the biggest thing that was MIDI out of all of this was the strings, because as you can see, this room's a little bit small to fit an orchestra into it, probably even a little bit small for a quartet. I have used 2 Contact plugins here. I've used Action Strings 2 and their Stradivari violin. Don't know if I said that right, but anyway, here's that. It sounds, I like listening to it. I think it sounds gorgeous, if I do say so myself. So the chords are just obviously doing the notes of the song, the chords of the song, and then I just kind of improvised the violin over the top on the keyboard. I think I would have done a few passes at it until I got it right. I'm using the modulation wheel to get that kind of expression, so when you really hear it, just trying to give it that emotive thing there. Pretty simple stuff, but I like it anyway. Drums, let's hear the drums. So it's basically just a tambourine and me playing on my MIDI keyboard some kind of marching snare, which would have both of these I know are from Contact Libraries. I don't know which ones. I'm sorry. I think it's probably just like the session drummer, to be fair, or the studio drummer. Studio drummer is what it is. So I actually did record real shakers and real tambourine, and I just really liked the thinness and the brightness of this specific tambourine. So basically it's just a single track vocal, and normally I do that tracking thing where I have a separate tracking layer and then pluck the best bits from that and then put it onto a new layer that's like the final vocal layer. In this case, I was a bit lazy and didn't do that. I just kind of comped it in place. So you can just see, looks like we did about 11 or 12 takes. Takes 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 8, 11 were kind of the sweet spots. So yeah, did a lot of cleaning up before actually comping. That's a single track lead for the verse. And then every now and then there's this like splash of a double. We have versions where there's a lot of layers going on in this song. Every time I stripped it back and stripped it back and stripped it back, it just felt better and better and better, to me at least. So yeah, just a couple little splashes here.
To end, I couldn't.
And then yeah, the layers really come in on the choruses.
Until the sky, it came falling into our hearts.
Yeah, so that's 5 different takes there. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into the mixing side of things now, and this was a fun one for me to mix, mainly because I had no idea what I was doing. I haven't really done a whole lot of acoustic stuff in the past, so I had to really push myself out of my comfort zone and try new things that I've never tried before, or work with tools that I usually use but in completely different ways. Everything that I tried that I kind of normally would do on a more electronic track or a pop track completely overcooked this mix. It was more about natural sounding acoustic instruments and vocals and stuff like that didn't have too much processing on it. So anyway, let's start from the acoustic guitar. This acoustic guitar, I don't think I actually mentioned, was recorded with this microphone, but it was the Sphere SD451, which is based off the I think 451 like Neumann potentially pencil microphone. So you actually see on the acoustic guitar left and right channels that there's basically nothing going on. It's just a utility, and I don't think that utility is actually doing anything. I think I would have dropped that on to see if there was any phasing issues, and as you can see, nothing was kept on there, so it doesn't look like there was. Most of the processing happens on the bus, so I'm kind of processing these two tracks as one individual kind of track here on the bus. It looks like there's a lot going on, but from memory, I don't think there's actually nearly as much as you'd expect. So there's a bit of Pro Q3, and on this Pro Q3, I'm just dipping 161 hertz by almost nothing, so like 1.84 dB. Let's actually solo the acoustic guitar, and what I'll do is I'll turn absolutely everything off and we'll just add it one by one. So as you can hear it already sounds pretty good. We really I spent a lot of time with Josh getting the distance of the microphone and the angle of the microphone to the guitar as good as I could. So I was wearing these headphones and kind of moving. Josh was sat in the middle of this room playing guitar. I put the headphones on and I was just kind of moving the microphone around to try find the sweet spot. Definitely something I'm new to, and I'm sure there's people out there that would be watching this and going, "You call that a sweet spot?" But it's the sweet spot I found. Anyway, let's turn on the EQ. Just kind of removing a little bit of that mud. You'll probably notice this one actually more in the chorus. Yeah, just tightening that up a little bit. The decapitator, I really love this decapitator setting. I've got it on E. The tone is up by the tiniest amount. This is what I use a lot on vocals, and I stole this off Dan Nigro. He did like a breakdown of Producing Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, and this was like the one takeaway I got from that video. He usually has this set to E and the tone at about 1 o'clock and then the drive at 1. I've pulled it back just a little bit because it was a little bit too, made the acoustic guitars a little bit too shiny and bright. So let's hear that on. So it's on and now off. Yeah, it just gives it a little bit of like shininess on the top end. The Arturia Neve 1073 emulation, I would have recorded into my Universal Audio Unison preamp with the Neve 1084, which is still a great preamp. I didn't have the 1073 at the time. So yeah, the pre-1973, I'm actually using it just to boost the high shelf by 2.3 dB. And I'm also cutting the 1.6K mid-range by 1.3 dB. So let's see what that sounds like. Turn it on. I think it just emphasizes the strings a little bit more. So this is the Pultec. I use this one a lot. I love this plugin. So as you can see, I'm boosting the 16K range with a really sharp bandwidth by quite a lot, so like 4.5 there, and then also boosting the 100 kilohertz by a factor of 1. So off, on. Bear in mind that is making it louder as well. But yeah, I knew that I liked the top end, even though I was adding gain and volume there, and I normally like to try to balance out that. I just knew that I liked what I was hearing. So a little bit of compression. I think it's pretty mild using the Pro C Byte and Sustain BM, just a preset. I like to really just start off my compressors with a preset. I've kind of got my go-to presets for different compressors for whatever I'm putting it on, whether it's vocals and the type of vocal and stuff like that. So this was just a preset, and I probably just adjusted the threshold, to be honest. And yeah, you can see I'm really just grabbing those kind of like chuggy, those bits where Josh is hitting it quite hard. But you'll probably see in the verse, for instance, there's almost no compression. So like 0.4 decibels, like 0.7 decibels. There we go, 1.9. So it's just capturing those like harder hit notes there. Soothe, just because I'm too lazy to EQ. Let's hear what that's actually getting rid of. Just a little bit of resonance there, not a crazy amount. We've got some utility gain automation here, which is just my way of volume automating. And you can see that I'm just doing a little bit of gain automation on the acoustic, kind of dropping it a little bit just to create a bit more dynamics. So it's doing a little bit of like my own compression here. There was obviously this note and this note. I just didn't like, I thought it hit too hard even with the compression on, but I didn't want to turn up the compression more. So I just manually cut this by 2 decibels that here and here by the looks of it. Yeah, so I'm just automating the gain of the guitar through the track to make the choruses louder. Track spacer, this is basically just like a side chain to the vocals, just to make the acoustic guitar move out of the way a little bit of the vocal.
It came falling into our hearts, and the rain, it came and left its mark.
Cool little thing. I really wanted to see if there was like a way that you can kind of stereo balance a bus or like a stereo track just to match the gain. This was the best thing that I found on Reddit. It's called Gain Match, right? And so you can see that I've got 2 on there. One, this first one is set to the before, and it's set to the left channel. And then this one is set to the after, and it's set to the right channel. And the after is set to automatic. So what it does is the left feeds into the right, and whatever the reading of the decibel on the left channel is, the right channel tries to automatically automate itself to match the volume to the left, so you get a more consistent level. I definitely think that it improved the overall mix. I would love to hear, if you're watching this and you know a better way of doing this, I'd love to hear it, what you actually do. Is there like a stereo compressor that you use? Or comment that below, because this is the best I found. So you can see the right's actually changing itself. If I turn them both off, let's see if you can notice a difference. You might need to have headphones on for this. Now it feels like it's coming more from the left. Let's do the bass guitar. So yeah, really nothing going on the bass. It's just a bit of limiting. So yeah, the Ampeg bass amp by Plugin Alliance keeps going. All the plugins keep going to my bottom screen. Cool. Yeah, so just the tiniest little bit of like limiting there. Oh yeah, 3. You can see it's like it was really quite transient, the bass there, so I wanted to maybe just soften up those transient parts a bit. Let's see if we can hear a difference with it off. Sounds pretty, to be honest, it sounds pretty good without it too. Nothing on the electric. Yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward. Again, just a little bit of clip gain automation here just to make this. So yeah, I just wanted to fade that out, so when the chorus came in, it got out of the way of that. On the electric guitars, yeah, just a bunch of Valhalla reverb, really lazily done as well. Just slap on Valhalla vintage verb in its default state and adjust the decay and mix. Don't do anything else. So if I turn off all of that, this is what it sounded like. Turn on the reverb. Turn on the chorus dimension D. Turn on the EQ. With that. Pretty. And then this one's got nothing on it. This was literally how it was recorded. So I think we mic'd up or did a DI out of Josh's guitar amp, and he had like an effect, like a reverb pedal or something. So that's just exactly how it was recorded. So the strings on the staccato and the violin, I've got a decapitator and I've got the Pultec. So let's listen to that. So you can hear just like not as much top end. Still very nice sounding. Probably more natural, but I just wanted a little bit more brightness on the top end, so. Oh, that's, yeah, really nice. To me, that's really nice. I love that. So it's a similar thing to what I did before with the acoustic, but it's a little bit more drive, a little bit more tone, and I'm using the T. The Pultec, let's hear that on and off. So off, on. So in this case, I'm actually attenuating, so I'm cutting the 100 Hertz shelf and I'm boosting an 8K shelf, and I have a little less bandwidth there. But yeah, it sounds great without it. And then with it. That to me, again, this is all subjective. You might think it sounded better before, a little bit fuller, but I just love how it just like flattens it a little bit and brings out the top end a bit more. And then I think that chain is literally just copy pasted on the violin. Yeah, it's the exact same setting. I like how the decapitator makes it just sound a little bit more scratchy. And the Pultec again is just boosting the top end. But yeah, I think there's most of the processing for these strings is just in the soothe, again, because I couldn't be bothered EQing. The actual string library, that library has already been EQ'd. It's already gone through some really nice gear. It's already been compressed and all of that, likely. So the idea is it should sound, you know, mix ready straight out of the plugin. I think with the 3 layers, the more legato combined with the staccato combined with the violin, because they're going to overlap some frequencies and maybe create a bit of resonance. Yeah, just chucked a soothe on and then just removing a little bit. Nothing crazy. And then again, just using that track spacer to move the strings out of the way when the vocal comes. Keys are the same thing again, so the whole group is just soothe, pretty much the same setting. Just because we've got tracks layering, and the layering of tracks creates resonance. So the piano's got nothing on it. Kept it really dry. I probably should have done something to it, but if we probably go through some of these, yeah, so this particular note, as an example, I've pulled it down 4.8 decibels. So instead of using a compressor myself, I'm just kind of manually compressing my own playing. This piano intro it's the same grand piano at loop, and I have done something there just to make it a little bit more dreamy. I've put Valhalla Vintage Verb, again just the default setting, 8.95 seconds, 44.8 on the mix. So without it, it sounds like this. Boring. Sounds much better with some reverb. The Triton acoustic piano. So that's without the reverb. With the reverb, again, Valhalla Vintage. Shock Horror. It's the default setting with quite a lot of mix and quite a big decay, about 10 seconds of decay. So the Poly D lead, this was actually printed. I don't know why I printed this before mixing, but I would have had effects on it. It sounds like it was Portal, like a preset in Portal, maybe some reverb and stuff. On my Enya Sail Away patch on the Triton, just rolling off 250 hertz because there's a lot of low end in this. Actually, not that much low end, but yeah, just getting rid of it so it doesn't clash. Turn off the Valhalla delay and the Valhalla plate reverb. Ooh, plate reverb. I must have just got bored of using the vintage verb. So yeah, just a basic little bit of Valhalla delay there. It's not synced to the tempo, as you can see. Valhalla plate. I could have done something cool here and done 33.3 on this and 3.3 on the decay. So without the plate, with the plate. Yeah, it's nice. Subtle. Mellotron. I like this, what we've done with Mellotron. So without we've got the UAD Brigade chorus, which I'm a big fan of. I've had it forever and I just never used it. And I thought it was kind of, I think I tried it on one thing once and I was like, I don't really like that. And then I saw someone else use it and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and now I use it heaps. So without the Brigade chorus and with. Like makes the vintage sound of a Mellotron sound even more vintage. And it obviously creates that stereo width, which is really nice as well. Let's move to the drone. So the drone's got nothing but a little bit of volume automation there, as you can see, just to kind of increase the intensity. To kind of try to help with building a little bit of anticipation, a little bit of tension in that pre-chorus. And then it completely just drops out. So the drums, I don't think there's anything on the drums. Oh, a bit of reverb on the tambourine. What was it? Oh, Valhalla plate. Turn that off. It's already got reverb on it. Again, this is a contact tambourine. I did record real tambourine, but I just liked the thinness and the lightness and the almost tackiness of this tambourine. And I just wanted to emphasize that reverb a little bit more. So you can see 4.4 seconds, quite long. And the snare's nothing. Completely just however it sounded in the contact library. So let's look at the vocals. So you can see there's a little bit of a echo, Valhalla Vintage Verb throw there, and also Pulsar Echo Rec throw.
Until the sky, it came falling into our...
Just to give that a little bit more emphasis and make it try to create a bit more dynamic and emotion in that. Earlier mixes, there's so many more throws and so much more reverb automation, and again, it just stripped it back and it's like, oh, you know what, that's actually kind of nicer, because I think it is such a beautiful song and it is such a emotive and intimate track that if you try to spice it up, or if you try to, overcomplicate things, that really detracts from the overall message of the song and the feeling of the song. So let the song just kind of speak for itself and stand up for yourself. That was really the thought process there. So the layering of all the tracks, there was just, a whole build up of S-ing in the frequency range. So just put a DS on.
Until the sky, it came for...
Let's turn that off.
Until the sky, until the sky, until the sky.
Yeah, just softening up that till and sky. The soothe, it looks like it's mainly focusing on the higher frequencies.
Until the sky, until the sky, until the sky, until the sky, until the sky.
Yeah, just taming a little bit of that top end harshness, and then probably re-adding top end with Pultec.
Until the sky.
Yeah, so 16K, boost to 4, boosting the 100 hertz by just 1.
Until the sky, until the sky, until the sky.
Yeah, love it.
It came for...
So Melodyne, and you'll see that Melodyne's not on the whole song. Even though it's like you can see that even here, it hasn't really been touched that much, to be honest. There was just like a couple of notes here and there that stood out to either me or Josh, and we're like, oh, let's just fix those, because there wasn't a better option in the different take lanes. Josh has got a great voice. Bit of Pro DS.
So I ran the gauntlet. So I ran the gauntlet.
Just doing the same thing as the DS are on the group. Pro MB. This is an interesting one. I don't think I've ever really used this, and something possessed me to use it instead of just using like an EQ or dynamic EQ.
So I ran the gauntlet like...
Turn it on. I'll turn it off.
So I ran the gauntlet like tomorrow. So I ran the gauntlet like tomorrow.
Yeah, just kind of getting rid of a little bit of the mud in the voice, I guess. The decapitator. Yeah, just doing the Dan Nigro trick that I stole from him. Thanks, Dan. I'm a big fan. That's the magic setting. I should just save this. I should press this little save icon. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. Dan Nigro vocal trick. Thank you, Dan. Proceed.
So I ran the gauntlet like tomorrow.
Using the upfront. I noticed that, lots of engineers that I watch, particularly like the real iconic engineers, they use that Waves Arvox a lot. And I wanted to see if there was, jumped back on Reddit, and I just wanted to see if there was like a Pro C setting that I could use that kind of sounded like the Arvox, and someone just mentioned if you use the upfront, it's pretty close. So I don't know if it's true, but I used the upfront and I was like, hey, it sounds better, so I'm happy with that. And I'm compressing
so
quite a bit, 6 decibels.
Like tomorrow.
Chorus lead. So it's just those same things without the Melodyne. So everything else but Melodyne. And oh yeah, there's a bit of utility gain automation, show automation in your lane. Looks like maybe there was just a couple of words that I felt, even with the compression, hit a little bit too loud, so I've just kind of squashed that. It looks like...
Till I was searching.
Yeah, so let's turn that off.
Till I was searching. Till I was searching.
Yeah, just to control that a little bit better, which probably is unnecessary, but I was hearing it, so I did it. So the chorus, yeah, this is literally just copy pasted, same settings. The chorus backing vocals.
Guy, it came for...
This will be the same, except I've added this Pro Q3 that just rolls off the top end and rolls off the bottom end. So if we solo the group.
Guy, it came falling into our hearts.
Stops it from like being too harsh or top endy and like too much of a build up in the bottom end. Decapitator's the same, Pro C's the same. Oh, I'm using that same gain match trick that I tried on the acoustic guitar group, just to try to make sure that the overall balance of the left and right was sounding good. Pulsar Echo Rec. Yeah, this was like I think the very last thing that I added in the mix. I love this Pulsar Echo Rec. It's a emulation of a Binson Echo Rec, and I like that you can use it for just the preamp. And you can kind of play with you can click on the wheel and slow it down, and it pitches, which is a bit of fun. My sends, I've just got like a UA. This is for the acoustic guitar. Acoustic guitar chamber, literally just a preset. The vocal room, again, UAD capital chambers. Big vocal source. You can't not use a preset called Big Vocal Source. I had to use that. The vocal verb, Valhalla Vintage, on one of my favorite presets, SP Pop Vocal. Binson Echo Rec. So yeah, that was just for that big hit. Pulsar Echo, oh no, it's the Pulsar Echo Rex off is actually the Valhalla Vintage again. And my other favorite preset, SP Amazing Vocal. This one's off, big acoustic guitar reverb. I always thought you wanted to keep it as like organic sounding and real as possible. And if you added too much reverb or if you added too much compression, because you can't, add reverb and compression to a acoustic when it's right in front of you. But then I heard a really great track with a lot of reverb on the guitar and I thought it sounded amazing. So again, this was one of the last minute additions just before I kind of finalized the mix. I don't think I did anything else with that. So yeah, a bit dark, a bit muddy there in the 70s. 80s is good. Just obviously super clean there. Nice. So yeah, that's the mix. I sent it off to Wayne Sunderland at Suture to master it. He did a really great job. So that's pretty much it for this track. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I'm planning on doing a Q&A for every single one of these that I do for every single track, so I can address any questions that you might have. So yeah, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments below. I'd also love to hear your feedback. Like, what would you have done differently? What do you like about the mix? What do you think I can improve about the mix? I'm always trying to improve myself. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Well done to you for sticking around this long, and there will be more of this very soon.